What is up, guys? Delboy here. So some interesting comments coming from Joe Gallagher, the trainer of Callum Smith. He is talking about Callum Smith's next options, and apparently Joe Gallagher is happy for Callum Smith to move up in weight and fight WBO light heavyweight champion Sergey Kovalev. Let's just have a quick read of what Joe Gallagher said. The unification fights, that's what we want. That's what we've said to Eddie Hearn, said Smith's trainer Joe Gallagher. They're the big fights we want, and even with Kovalev winning at the weekend, there's a possibility if nobody wants to dance with us at super middleweight, then we'd move up and fight Kovalev. I think that would get everyone excited, but they're the type of fights we want for Callum Smith. Callum Smith became the #1 super middleweight in the world last September. He's become a dad, he's back in the gym now, and he's itching to get out. I'm wanting Callum to fight April or May time, whether that's here in the UK or in America. But we want big fights, big unification fights. They are the words of Joe Gallagher. So basically, in an ideal world, they would much rather see Callum Smith unify at super middleweight, as would I. I think there are some good fights out there for him, and to be quite honest, right now, if we're looking at super middleweight, I would favour Callum Smith over any fighter right now. To me, he showed a lot in that George Groves fight. I was really impressed. I felt he held it together exceptionally well, held his shape, boxed really well, displayed a good jab, good timing, good punching power, looked very strong, and all in all, I was really impressed with Callum Smith that night. And for me, he's got the single best win out of all of these super middleweight champions right now. I would certainly pick Callum Smith to beat the winner of Anthony Durrell and Avni Yildirim. I would also pick Callum Smith to beat Caleb Plant. I would also pick him to beat Gilberto Ramirez and David Benavidez. To me, at 28 years old and 25-0, Callum Smith is really starting to come into his own. He's coming into his prime. He's big for the weight. He does all of the basics well. He can punch. I believe he's got the potential to beat all of the guys at super middleweight right now. I really do. And for the longest time, I was on the fence about Callum Smith, but, he won me over in that George Groves fight. And as for him going up in weight to light heavyweight, he certainly got the dimensions to do so. Callum Smith is a huge super middleweight. He's 6'3", he's tall and rangy, he's a strong guy, he has punching power. To me, he's got all of the attributes to step up to light heavyweight, and I believe Callum Smith, when he eventually steps up to light heavyweight, he will have success, he will be fighting for titles, and win, lose or draw, I think he can give anybody in that division problems, to be quite honest, and I believe he can give Kovalev problems. Like I said, Callum Smith would actually be the bigger, taller guy. Callum Smith's boxing skills are pretty decent. He's one of those guys, doesn't set the world alight, but he does the basics well. Got a good jab. He delivers all of his shots in a technically good manner. Good body puncher. He carries power. Maintains a really good shape in the ring. Just a good all-round boxer. You can tell he's had a decent amateur background. Just well schooled. And when you've got that type of style, you can go a long way. You really can, especially when you're that big and you can punch. He can go a long way, and I believe he can give Kovalev problems, but Kovalev is light years ahead of anybody Callum Smith has fought to date, and that's no disrespect to George Groves, but Kovalev is of a different level. Kovalev has been in pound-for-pound lists. Kovalev has been a unified champion. Kovalev is a three-time light heavyweight champion. The guy is very experienced. He's an excellent boxer with real punching power. Kovalev to me would be a favourite in that fight. But nevertheless, Kovalev is 35. I believe Kovalev is on the decline. And maybe it's a fight worth taking. Because if Callum Smith was to beat Sergey Kovalev, that's a huge win. It really is a huge win. And losing to Kovalev is no disgrace whatsoever. We just want to see fighters step up and try their luck at the highest level. If Callum Smith were to jump up and fight Kovalev and lose, I'm not going to hold it against him. He doesn't even have to let go of his title at super middleweight to do that. Why not have a one-off fight at light heavyweight? If you win, then maybe you can campaign there. but if you lose, you can then go down and defend your super middleweight title. To me, the Kovalev fight is a risk worth taking. I'd love to see it. I'd watch it. I would support it. I think it's a good fight for both. Why not, right? Why not? And I just want to see Callum Smith be let off the leash now. I was really impressed in the George Groves fight, so I want to see him in big unification fights, or even stepping up to light heavyweight to fight a guy like Sergey Kovalev. These are the type of things I want to see from Callum Smith now. I really want to see him push on, and I want to see how good this guy is. Because I do believe he has ability, and I do believe he's good enough to get some really big wins at super middleweight and at light heavyweight. Let's see how good this guy is. So either a unification fight against the likes of Caleb Plant or Gilberto Ramirez, or maybe even jumping up to light heavyweight to fight a Kovalev. Let's get it. Share your thoughts below. Would you support this fight? Would you want to see Callum Smith versus Kovalev? Would you give Callum Smith a chance? Or would you write him completely off? Share your thoughts below. Peace.